I've always been a collector of stories. At 88, I've seen my fair share of life's trials and triumphs, and through it all, I've learned how easily our most important moments and lessons can fade if we're not careful. Not long ago, I found myself sitting in my living room with the afternoon sun streaming through the window, reflecting on the memories I'd gathered over the decades. I thought about my children, my grandchildren, and even those in my extended family who will be here long after I'm gone. Suddenly, a wave of urgency washed over me. I realized that everything I hold close, my cherished photos, letters, official papers, heirlooms, were scattered haphazardly in boxes, drawers, and old suitcases. If something were to happen to me, they'd be left sorting through a jumble of belongings, trying to guess what was worth keeping and what story each item told. That was the day I decided it was time to create my legacy box. I'd heard of people making scrapbooks or storing important documents in a fireproof safe, but calling mine a legacy box felt more personal. It wasn't just about stashing away papers. It was about preserving the essence of who I am and what I want to pass on. Perhaps you've had a similar concern, knowing you have valuable memories and critical documents, but unsure how to ensure they're preserved in a way that truly reflects you. Many of us believe that our families will just figure it out, but I've seen how confusion and misunderstandings can arise. When my neighbor Martha, who was 79 at the time, passed unexpectedly, her children had to rummage through every drawer in her home. They argued about which items were meaningful and which were junk, and they ended up missing out on some of the most precious artifacts of her life. It was heartbreaking to see, but it was also a wake-up call for me. I understood in that moment that without a clear plan, without intentionally organizing and labeling the important pieces of our personal histories, we risk leaving a trail of emotional chaos behind. Our children or grandchildren might wonder why we kept a particular keepsake, or they might never know the significance of a half-faded photograph. The legacy we've spent a lifetime building could lose its meaning. The stakes are high. Do we leave confusion, or do we leave clarity and comfort? Do we let our families guess what we cherished, or do we guide them so they can appreciate and cherish it too? In these next few minutes, I'm going to share 5 crucial things I believe every senior can include in a legacy box. If you stay with me until the very end, you'll discover something that most people never even think to include. An element so powerful it could help your family not just remember you, but feel your presence long after you're gone. It's an approach backed by decades of observing how families pass on their stories, how personal items can carry an entire heritage, and how small acts of preparation can bring enormous peace of mind. Over many years of speaking with friends, neighbors, and even professionals in estate planning, I've compiled these insights into 5 simple points that will transform the way you approach your family's future. So if you haven't already, please consider subscribing or following along in whatever way you can, because what we discuss today could spare you and your loved ones needless heartache and confusion down the road. If as you watch and listen, you find value in what I'm sharing, let me know in the comments by typing a simple one to show your support. Or if you disagree or feel the content isn't helpful, type 0, and I'll learn how to make our future conversations even better. Now let's dive into the 5 things I personally placed in my legacy box and why each one has a far deeper meaning than you might expect. By the end, you'll see that a legacy box isn't just about storing objects. It's about protecting the stories and wisdom we've spent a lifetime gathering, so that those we love can feel confident and guided when they need it most. The first thing I believe belongs in any legacy box is a set of personal letters and life lessons. I want to start with a bold statement. Simply telling our stories out loud while we're here isn't enough. Everyone assumes their children or loved ones will remember everything we said, but that's rarely the case. There's a common misconception that if a story mattered, family members will automatically cherish it. But the truth is, in the swirl of daily life, kids, work, finances, people quickly forget. They might recall a fuzzy version of what you said, or they might conflate 2 different stories, missing the important details you intended to pass on. A friend of mine, Shirley, who was 86, experienced this firsthand. She'd spent years verbally sharing family history with her granddaughter, Rosa, who was in her early 20s at the time. Shirley was proud of how close she and Rosa were. But one day, while they were looking through photos, Rosa said, "Grandma, you never told me how you and Grandpa first met." Shirley was stunned. She had told that story a dozen times. But Rosa had forgotten all the tiny details, the name of the dance hall, the song that played when they first kissed. That's when Shirley realized verbal stories can slip away unless they're written down. So I tell everyone, write it down. Write letters for milestone moments, a graduation, a wedding, a first child. Write letters that capture your most significant lessons, those truths that took a lifetime to learn. For me, I included a letter about overcoming loss, another about what real love looks like, and one about finding your purpose at any age. These letters aren't just words on paper. They're vessels of encouragement and care. They're a chance for your voice to comfort your loved ones, even when you can't be there in person. Imagine your children opening a letter from you on their 50th birthday, reading your handwriting and hearing your voice in every sentence. That's the power of personal letters. You remain alive in their hearts, guiding them through life's ups and downs. Here's how to start. Choose a quiet afternoon, sit down with some good paper, maybe even some nice stationery, and reflect on the lessons you find most valuable. Write as though you're having a personal conversation with someone you deeply care about. Make it specific. If it's a letter for a grandchild's graduation, share the fears you had at that age and how you overcame them. Let them know it's okay to be scared sometimes. The emotional benefit is huge, a sense of relief that your words won't vanish with time, and an overwhelming feeling of pride that your wisdom will continue to serve those you love. I call it leaving footprints in their future. It's your voice stepping into moments you might never physically experience. The second crucial thing to place in your legacy box is a collection of vital documents and instructions. You might assume everyone has these in a neat file cabinet, but you'd be surprised how many seniors keep their most critical papers in random spots around the house. Common misconceptions say, "I told my son where to find the will," or "My daughter has a copy of my insurance policy." Yet in reality, families can spend frantic days searching for one piece of paper, and sometimes they never find it. That can lead to major delays, legal disputes, and added grief during an already difficult time. Consider Henry, a 75-year-old who thought he was well prepared because he had a will. But when Henry was hospitalized, his family discovered the will was unsigned. Worse yet, his insurance documents were hidden away in the attic, and no one knew they existed. The unexpected truth is that having these documents isn't enough. You must clearly label and consolidate them. When I created my legacy box, I gathered my will, my health directives, insurance papers, property deeds, bank information, and other critical records. I put them all into a single binder with a table of contents. This binder might not look glamorous, but it's one of the most important things in my home. It's like a treasure map that shows my family exactly where to look for each essential piece. One practical piece of advice: include clear instructions. For example, note which attorney helped draft your will, where to find your safety deposit box key, and which bank handles your retirement account. Keep it simple. A list with phone numbers, addresses, and any account nicknames can save your family hours, or even weeks of stress. If you can, add an "in case of emergency" mini checklist. Things like who to call first, which bills need to be paid immediately, and the basic steps to secure your home. That sense of order, especially at a time of crisis or bereavement, is invaluable. It's the difference between your family feeling overwhelmed and your family feeling guided. The emotional benefit of having these documents prepared is enormous pride in your foresight and dignity in knowing that you haven't left your affairs in chaos. You're giving your loved ones a loving gesture that spares them confusion. Instead of sifting through endless papers, they can focus on what truly matters: each other and their memories of you. After all, grieving is hard enough without the added frustration of legal or financial confusion. By taking this step, you reduce the emotional burden, and that's a final gift worth giving. If you're still following along and you feel these insights are making sense, do me a small favor. Write the number 2 in the comments to let me know you've made it to the second point and you're finding this helpful. And if you haven't subscribed yet, remember to do so. Your involvement really does help me understand what content resonates with you most. The third item you should consider is a curated collection of photographs and family history. Let me challenge a popular idea. It's not enough to store random photos. Many of us have piles of pictures sitting in old shoeboxes or half-labeled albums. We assume our children and grandchildren will know who is in each photo and why that moment mattered. But that assumption is often wrong. People forget. Faces become unrecognizable. A 1950s holiday snapshot might show a group of relatives, but your grandkids might have no clue that's Aunt Edna, who danced her way through Europe at age 20, or Uncle Theo, who fled difficult circumstances to start a new life. The misconception is that pictures speak for themselves. In reality, pictures need a voice, your voice. Here's the truth. The story behind each photo is just as important as the photo itself. I learned this from my dear friend Nancy, who was 84 when she decided to tackle her mountain of photographs. She spent days making little notes on the backs of pictures and carefully organizing them into an album with labels like New York City Trip, 1963, and Family Picnic at Lakeview, 1975. She discovered that when her grandchildren looked at the labeled photos, they asked questions like, "Who was that friend of yours in the polka dot dress?" Or, "What did the lake smell like on that hot summer day?" That curiosity blossomed into a deeper connection with Nancy's past, and the EU stories came alive. What's my practical advice? Choose the most meaningful photos from your life, perhaps 50 or 100 at most. You don't need every snapshot you ever took. Focus on quality over quantity. Then add short captions, names, dates, locations, and a sentence about why this moment mattered. You might write, "Summer of '65, your grandfather and I on our honeymoon. We were so broke we slept in the car, but we were happy as could be." See how that brings the moment to life? Also consider adding a brief family tree that shows how everyone is related. If you want to go a step further, record a short audio commentary describing the context of a few key pictures. That way your children or grandchildren can see your face and hear your voice as they learn about their heritage. The emotional benefit of doing this is profound. You get to relive cherished moments while organizing them, which often brings a sense of gratitude and purpose. And for your family, it's like opening a portal into the time and place where each memory was formed. That experience can strengthen family bonds, spark traditions, and even inspire younger generations to preserve their own stories with care. Pictures aren't just images. They are emotional anchors for love, laughter, and lessons learned. The fourth thing to include in your legacy box is a selection of personal mementos and artifacts, each with a written explanation. It might seem obvious that we should pass down meaningful objects, but here's a bold idea. Don't pass everything down indiscriminately. One common misconception is that all our possessions hold the same value for our family. Actually, without context, items that mean the world to you could end up being sold at a yard sale or tossed in the trash. Why? Because no one realized what they were, where they came from, or why they matter. Let me share the story of Walt, an 82-year-old Navy veteran. He kept an old pocket watch in a drawer for decades, assuming his family knew it was his grandfather's watch. A watch that had survived 2 wars and was handed down as a symbol of perseverance. However, when Walt's grandchildren were decluttering his home before he moved into assisted living, they nearly gave that watch away to a thrift store. They had no idea it was a treasured heirloom from the early 1900s. Luckily, Walt noticed it missing in time, and he quickly wrote a small note explaining the watch's history. "This watch belonged to my grandfather Samuel, who carried it through World War I. It reminds me that hope can endure the toughest battles." Now the watch has a story, and that story gives it value far beyond money. Don't leave your treasured objects nameless and voiceless. Attach a small card or note explaining each item, where it came from, who gave it to you, why it mattered. Even something as simple as a chipped teacup can hold a story. Maybe it was your wedding gift, or a keepsake from a significant milestone in your life. This explanation becomes the difference between an item that's merely old and an item that's historically and emotionally significant. The surprising insight is that sharing the story behind a memento can turn it into a bridge between generations. Suddenly, an old watch, a piece of jewelry, or even a well-worn cookbook stops being clutter and becomes a piece of family lore. The practical steps: Write a small label or slip of paper for each artifact. Place them together in a special compartment of your legacy box. And if the item is too large, like a piece of furniture, take a photo, write its story, and keep the photo and note in the box. The emotional benefit is enormous. You transform your belongings into enduring stories. You'll feel a strong sense of dignity, knowing that the meaning you gave to certain objects won't end with you. Instead, it will live on, giving your family a tangible piece of history to hold on to. If you're still here with me, I want to know. Drop the number 4 in the comments to show me you've made it to this 4th point. And if you haven't yet, I invite you to subscribe. These are the small gestures that help me continue to share insights, and I genuinely appreciate your support. Finally, let's talk about the 5th and perhaps most surprising thing you can put in your legacy box: a recorded legacy of values message. This could be a simple audio or video message in which you speak directly to your loved ones about your guiding principles, your dreams for them, and any last words of wisdom you want to share. Here's a bold statement. A legacy box without your spoken voice might feel incomplete. While letters are beautiful and vital, there's a unique power in seeing your face or hearing your voice. A common misconception is that a quick phone call or casual chat is enough. But think about how many of us wish we had just one more conversation with someone who has passed. A recorded message becomes a gift that allows our families to see our expressions, hear our laughter, and feel our presence as if we're in the room with them. I learned this from Caroline, a 77-year-old who attended a workshop on final messages. She was nervous about being on camera. Like many of us, she wasn't fond of seeing herself talk. But once she recorded a heartfelt video for her children and grandchildren, she felt a new sense of peace. In that video, she said things she might never have said in an everyday conversation. She talked about what forgiveness meant to her, how she found the courage to remarry after losing her first husband, and what she wished most for each of her kids' futures. She also sprinkled in a bit of humor, sharing a funny story of how she once burnt Thanksgiving dinner so badly that the fire alarm went off, turning a near disaster into a cherished family memory. Years later, Carolyn passed away, and her grandchildren still watch that video whenever they miss her. They don't just hear her words, they see her eyes light up when she speaks about them. The truth is, your voice carries an emotional imprint that letters alone can't convey. The practical advice? You don't need fancy equipment. Use a smartphone or a basic camera, sit near a window for good lighting, and speak from the heart. Think about your greatest hopes and dreams for those you love. Share your values and any lessons you wish you'd learned sooner. If recording a video feels intimidating, an audio recording works just as well. The emotional benefit is this. You'll feel profound pride knowing that a piece of you, your actual voice or image, will remain accessible to your family, comforting them, guiding them, and reminding them how deeply they were loved. Each of these 5 elements, personal letters and life lessons, vital documents, photographs with context, meaningful mementos, and a recorded legacy of values, comes together to create something far greater than a box of trinkets. It becomes a living testament to who you are and what you stand for. And yes, it might take a little work to assemble it, but imagine the peace of mind you'll feel once it's done. Imagine your loved ones opening that box many years from now, feeling like you're right there with them, guiding them, sharing a laugh, shedding a tear, and reminding them of the strength and love that runs through your family line. You've now heard about each of these 5 points. Let's take a moment to see how they fit together. A legacy box isn't just a place to store random stuff. It's a carefully crafted experience for your loved ones to discover, learn from, and cherish. Every letter, every note, every recorded message is an echo of your spirit, ensuring you're never truly gone. Think about the transformation that can happen if you do this. Instead of leaving behind confusion or regret, you'll leave clarity, comfort, and a sense of continuity. Instead of leaving your family guessing about your stories, you'll let them hear your laughter and see your smile. Instead of old clutter, you'll offer treasured heirlooms with rich histories. Time has a way of sneaking up on us, so I urge you not to wait. Whether you're in your 60s, 70s, 80s, or beyond, now is the perfect time to begin. Start small, choose a quiet weekend, gather your thoughts, your papers, your photos, and begin labeling. If the idea of writing letters feels daunting, start with just one letter to one special person. If recording a video seems intimidating, do a short audio note on your phone. Each small step brings you closer to a complete legacy box. As you think about how you might apply this to your life, picture yourself opening that box 5 or 10 years from now with your grandchildren at your side. Imagine their faces lighting up as they see pictures of a younger you. Hear your stories in your own words and realize you took the time to guide them even after you're gone. It's a powerful gift of connection across generations, one that speaks of dignity, pride, and unwavering love. I'd love to hear which of these 5 points resonated with you the most. Was it the idea of writing heartfelt letters? Or maybe it was recording your own message? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Tell me which step you're planning to tackle first. Your reflections aren't just feedback from me. They might also inspire someone else to begin creating their own legacy box. Reading about your plans and your insights keeps me motivated to continue offering guidance that meets your needs. If you found even one bit of this conversation valuable, please like, subscribe, or follow. And if you know someone, a friend, a family member, who could benefit from this, share it with them. Often, we assume people know about these things, but you'd be surprised how many seniors haven't thought through the details. By sharing, you could help another family avoid heartbreak or confusion down the line. Thank you for spending this time with me. By taking these steps, you reclaim your voice and ensure your stories don't slip away. You have so much life lived, so much wisdom earned. Why let it vanish? You have the power right now to shape how future generations remember and experience you. That's a legacy no amount of money can buy. It's a legacy built from your heart, and it will stand as a beacon of your love and guidance for years, or even decades to come. I look forward to our next conversation. Until then, keep sharing your stories, keep embracing your dignity and pride, and never underestimate the impact a single thoughtful act today can have on your loved ones tomorrow.